This is Morten from English. Chica and I are still reporting from Label Expo here in Guadalajara in Mexico. And always good to be with friends. Dwayne.
Good to see you again.
Mark Andy. I mean, last time we spoke, that was like sit down into you in your role as CEO. You're still CEO and busy like hell, I guess.
We've been very busy. We sure have. Yeah, it's been about 15 months now, I think. And so second Label Expo for me, Chicago first, now in Guadalajara, Mexico. Really excited to be here.
Is that really only your second one?
It is, yeah.
It's just crazy because sometimes you forget that because I mean there's so many changes in the industry that sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to put people into that perspective, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been making a lot of change as well, so it's hard to kind of keep that timeline in perspective. But we need to move quickly, right? It's a dynamic industry, and if we're not changing and supporting our customers, then we're not doing what we need to do to help them grow. And when they grow, we grow.
And that's actually your payoff, right?
It is.
Is that a new one? Because I can't remember. I've seen that before.
We started that kind of in a test mode in Chicago, and we've done a lot of testing through the fall. And it is officially now our tagline.
Fantastic. You should have it on your shirt as well, right?
Yeah, well, we'll get there, right?
You get there. That's the second edition, right?
Yeah.
No, Dwayne, we're here in Mexico, obviously. So how important is the Latin American market to Mark Andy?
It's a fantastic market. It's a growing market. We have a large installed base here of machines, some of which we sold directly to customers, and some of which customers bought through the used or the rebuild equipment market over time. We have a lot of legacy customers here who started in Mexico and in Latin America and have grown their businesses, and we've also got some companies that we know well in the U.S. who have set up operations here or acquired companies here as well.
Okay, so American companies that have established production in Mexico, is that what you say? Okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. And if you look at the market, I mean, because I think that, you know better than anybody, there's a lot of competition also in your space. How important is it to build up a service organization and make sure that you have your own feet on the ground here?
Yeah, we've done a lot of customer research over the past 12 months in our business. And that's not just US research. I mean, we talk to all of our customers around the world. And one of the things that resonates the most, it's at the top of the list, is you have to have service, right? Without service, everything falls apart, right? So we looked at our service model for this market in particular and said, it's not as strong as it needs to be. So we've made a huge investment. We've found a company that's been servicing Mark Andy equipment for a number of years and doing so with factory authorized parts. And we've now partnered with that company and their team, and they are now part of Mark Andy Mexico going forward. So we're really excited about having that service capability, and that is primarily to support our equipment business and our customers here, okay? And the second thing we're doing in conjunction with that is we're also setting up our MAP business, our Mark Andy print products business, with all of the supplies that we sell to our customers around the world and all of our parts. So we'll have service, parts, supplies all supporting now our customers in Mexico along with our equipment. And that's exciting just because we can now bring our full offering to customers. The other thing that we like about it is, our digital technology here in Mexico, we've been a little hesitant because we weren't that strong on service. And now we've got this team. They're going to be...
Sorry to interrupt, is that because digital technology requires a little bit higher service level than analog, or?
It does, it does. And because it's new to the market, right? I mean, a lot of the guys that service equipment here kind of grew up with flexo presses, right? And they've been around for so long, there's a lot of institutional knowledge.
And of course, the other thing is new, so there's a learning curve, of course.
Exactly, right?
I was just wondering, Dwayne, because I mean, the geopolitical situations right now, I'm not talking so much about the American situation as such, but I'm thinking broader speaking. I think that a lot of our, let's say we're both from the Western part of the world, how important do you see the emerging markets like India, China, Mexico, Latin America, Africa? Because I mean, if we see maybe a a little bit of decline in the Western world or consolidations, we still want to sell as much equipment as possible, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that you are focusing on as well? Or?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Mark Andy is truly a global company. I mean, we operate in about 100 countries around the world.
Can you mention them all? No.
Thank you for not making me do that. And we do that with direct sales as well as with distributor partners.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's really an important network, and how we manage that distribution network as well. In some of the markets, we can't be everywhere, right?
No.
So how do we do that? And so we figured out this strategy, and we're continually working with our partners and with our direct sales teams in those markets to satisfy local needs, to be on the ground and local, but bringing in, either the latest technology or the technology that's appropriate for the needs of that market.
Yeah. So basically, with the vast technology, you have also the backlogs of the, let's say, legacy products. You can essentially create products that fit any market you want to address.
Absolutely, and a lot of our product designs are modular as well. So, customers in an emerging market, for example, can start out small. In fact, I've had multiple customers here already this morning who are doing Flexo and they want to buy their first digital engine, right? And the question is, do they buy a separate digital asset? Do they do it in a hybrid fashion, or do they buy a retrofit and put it on a Flexo press? So we're kind of at that inflection point right now. And that's, I think, a great example of Mark Andy's capability from a modularity standpoint. You can take our machines going way, way back and do a lot of these retrofits to help make them more current to whatever the customer's needs are, whether it's growth or productivity or a new book of business they're trying to win. We kind of have that full breadth of offering that we can bring to the table now.
Last question. If you look at everything we've been talking about, also Mexico specifically, it's a very competitive market. I mean, where do you position yourself as? I mean, you're as a large American manufacturer, global presence, a fantastic technology. I mean, how tough is the competition from your perspective?
I think all of our markets are relatively competitive.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that's maybe similar for everybody about Mexico is there's no one, as far as I know, manufacturing their presses here.
So that gives you an even
It's a bit of a level playing ground,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, because a lot of our competitors on the Flexo side are in Europe, and so we
But
have
here
we have some
you get
advantages in the U.S. They have
yeah.
some advantages in Europe, and they balance out over time. And they kind of net out from a market share perspective as well. But in Mexico, it's kind of an even playing field. And I think everybody's here. I think it's a large enough market. There's a lot of growth. I mean, we've identified it as one of the top 5 growth markets that we want to be in. And so there's enough room for everybody.
And it's only 2 hours flight from where you live.
That's right, 2-hour flight from where I live. It's perfect.
Yeah, so you could go and sell if you like, right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Likewise.